There we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Perfect. Perfect. Yay. That makes me happy. Okay, I'm going to mute you in the meantime. Wanna check for me if you can send me a chat. I want to see how that works.
Okay.
Matali, so I didn't get a chat from you yet.
From me.
You said something.
Okay, let me try. There you go.
Perfect. Okay. I know it works. Mute you and just and also put off your video if you could do that for me.
It's done.
Perfect. Thank you, my sister. Namibia. I just want to hear that you're able to hear me okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, my sister. Oops.
Different phones.
Say that again, my sister.
We are trying to connect from different areas. Yvonne, that you're seeing on the participant list, is also with us.
Oh, perfect.
I was busy trying to guide them on how to connect to the Zoom also.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm sitting with the leadership from different regions. So far, 9 regions are represented or will be represented today.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome. Okay.
Can we see your face? Can we see your face?
Okay, if you want to. There we go. Morning.
Morning.
Is everyone able to see me? Let me do a wave when I get back. Oh, beautiful. Hello, my sisters. Sisters.
Hello.
Okay, I'm going to mute you because I'm going to do a test with a few others. I think Zimbabwe is coming in right now.
Okay.
There we go. Zimbabwe. Ribu. You're on mute, my sister. There we go. Awesome.
Hello, my sister.
Hello, my sisters.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Good morning. We still have about half an hour, well, 35 minutes to go. So I'm going to mute all of you, and if it's helpful, maybe switch off your videos so that you can save the data for a little longer. But I just wanted to test that you are able to hear me, that you're able to see me, and also that you are able to use the chat, which Matalisa had helped me so kindly with.
Here. Hello.
Pilirani, morning, my sister. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you. How are you today?
Good, thank you, my sister. I want you to be able to see me as well. So just give me a second. There we go. Would I be able to see you? Do you want to switch on your video? There we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome. Is everything okay this morning?
Yeah, everything is okay. We are just waiting for my colleagues to come in.
Okay, perfect.
Sure, but my network somehow unstable. Maybe I should check with the owner's place to give
your
the
video
Wi-Fi password.
You can switch off your video so long. And then we can just have you reconnect to your video once everyone is back in.
All right.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna try and rename you as Rua Malawi.
Yeah, that's good.
So that we have that. Okay. Who has dropped now?
Oh yeah. Maruru mtakulanchira ninkashira matsengawa.
Quando la senta, qui a che il fuoco
Morning, Zakiti. My sister, let us quickly try and unmute you and see if we can hear you, okay? And to test that you can hear me, okay? Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, my sister. I'm going to ask you to start your video as well. I just want to check that it works. Morning.
Hi, Rene.
There we go, my sister. Awesome. Are you able to hear me okay?
Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm still working on.
Okay.
Try 20 minutes. Okay, cut. Hello.
Hey, my sister, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I hear you, but the problem is that when I'm connected to the bigger speakers, it doesn't. I can't hear you.
I wonder, what did we do the last time?
I'm using another laptop today. The other one does. Can you speak again?
Yes, I actually heard something, so I think that it's working. Are you able to
Perfect.
hear? Perfect. I did hear like an audio click.
Yeah.
You look beautiful, my sister.
Thank you so much, sister.
Okay, I'm going to switch off your video so long, and I'm going to switch off your sound as well, okay?
All right.
Just while we wait for the others to join. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you.
Hello, my sister Vola. Vola, I just wanted to quickly do a test with you. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah, hi Ronel. Hi everybody. I can hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. Can I just also check that I'm able to see you?
Yeah, sure.
There we go. Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
You're looking beautiful, my sister. So I'm gonna switch the
Thank
video
you.
and switch the audio. I just wanted to check that you are able to hear and see me.
Okay, thanks.
See you.
See you.
Microphone. Ntshona Sandra. Why is it muted? Oh.
Sisters, I'm gonna have to ask you to keep your microphones muted until the meeting starts. So I'll try and mute everyone. And should you have any questions, you could just put it into the chat. Thank you, my sisters. Lirane, I've requested a video for you, so if you could just unmute and check that the video is working. There we go. Awesome.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, my sisters in Malawi.
I can't see the video. Andiyalento Zoom. Ndimutiwe. Yabantu abanotata. Ayindenziwari la.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Cristobal. I just wanted to check that you are able to hear me okay?
Yes, I'm able to hear you. Hi.
Perfect. Awesome.
Great.
Thank you, sister.
Okay.
I can't see the video. I can't. My microphone is being muted, so I don't know what's going on.
Hello, my sister. It is Ronal. I am managing the webinar, and we have muted everyone to make sure that as people are entering, they are only coming in. All you'll be able to see is my screen, which has the poster for the day. And as soon as the meeting is ready to start, we'll then start screening people's faces as well. So if you
Okay,
can just
then.
give us a few more minutes, and then we'll get started with the day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister.
So, my sister. Hi, they told me.
Good morning, sisters.
Morning. How are you? This is Elizabeth.
I am good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Not so bad.
Okay.
Morning, my sister. Good to hear you. And good to
Hi,
hear you.
Ronald.
How are you?
I'm feeling much better today.
So happy to hear, my sister.
Yeah. I actually went back to the doctor and he reduced the dosage from the medication. At least now, yeah, I'm
That's
feeling much
wonderful.
better.
And you're feeling
Yes.
present as well, because I know sometimes the medication makes you loopy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's good to hear, my sister.
Yeah. So, when are we starting?
We're starting in a few minutes. I'm just going to be waiting to make sure that everyone who's supposed to be in the meeting is present.
Okay.
And the co-chairs for today would be Mercia and Sister Beatrice. And so soon as the two of them are also present, we'll go ahead with the meeting. But I'm making sure that everyone is muted. And currently
Okay.
on the screen, you'll only see the poster for the event.
All right. No, that's great.
Okay, my sister.
And is Zambia here already? Zambia.
Yes, Zambia is here, my sister.
Okay.
Just joining the meeting.
All right. Is Sister Grace? I'll just check.
Is connecting.
Here we go.
Hello, Namanda. I thought you were ill.
Ah, Mercia. I was just telling Ronel now, I went back to the doctor and he reduced the medication. Then I felt much better. I think he gave me an overdose of some of the things.
You should be
Especially the
careful.
blood pressure. Yeah.
I think we must read medication and always look at the question of side effects.
Yeah. No, I think so. I agree. Because it was making me worse instead of healing me. It was like I was getting worse every day.
So I think, Namanda, you and I should talk outside of this meeting. A whole lot of 60, 70 people are listening to what your doctor's done to you.
No, that's true, Mercia. But I'm excited to be back.
Ronel, will you tell us how many people we've got? Most countries here?
We do have most countries here, Mercia. We have 31 people that are logged in right now. And in terms of who's in the room, we've got South Africa in the room. We've got, there's a few people from South Africa that's in the room. We've got Lesotho, Namibia, Zambia, Malawi, Eswatini, Zimbabwe, Madagascar,
Zambia.
Yeah, and then we've also got some of our speakers from the partner networks. So I see Zab is here, and I see Cristobal here.
Bright is there.
Yes.
So I think
that you're just joining.
I see a South African face. Welcome, Fikile. It's nice to have you on our space.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
I'm just recognizing those I don't see normally in the space. It's really beautiful. I see Elizabeth. Is this Elizabeth Mpofu? Wonderful. And Joe, thank you very much. You're also here. Good. We just, I think maybe in the next 2-3 minutes, we should be able to start. I just don't see Mozambique isn't here yet.
Yeah, I don't see Mozambique either. I'm just going to do a check-in.
People, sorry that we, you are so prompt. Monday, do you think, oh, you are sick, you can't lead us in song? Welcome, Herschel. Maria, are you so nice to see you guys? Are you going to sing? Okay.
Phakama, 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 rwa ixesha, ixesha lifikile, phakama, phakama, rwa ixesha. Why am I singing alone? Mercia, that's Bussy.
I heard that. You see, we have a in Rural Women's Assembly, there's a choir mistress. She's in charge. So I have been banned from singing in public. She bans those of us who she thinks shouldn't make our voices heard in public, except to speak. So I think we should start, if you're happy for us to go, or do we hang on just a minute more?
I think I'm just trying to get hold of Mozambique, Mercia, but I see that your co-chair is also just joined. So Beatrice has just joined as well.
Thank you. And is Mr. what's his name from SADC also here?
Martin. We just need to do a check in on him as well.
Thank you. So perhaps while we're waiting on everyone, do you think we could have a shot of every country and they can be, as they say, hello, and then we can start? Is that possible? And thanks, Ronald, for all the technical backup. So shall we go country to country and people can just introduce themselves? Comrades, very briefly, just show us your picture and Zambia can say hi or whatever the case may be. Otherwise, we could be here till 5 o'clock this afternoon. And just to indicate how many of you are there so that our friends get an idea that today this is a speak out of many sisters from across the country. Thank you. So shall I, today we start, Beatrice, welcome. You and I are, do you think we start with Zambia? Zambia, you're all ready and are you happy to start, to introduce yourselves, show us your faces and just quickly introduce yourselves, please? Wow, what a big team. Go for it, please, sisters.
You can speak like. Hello, team. Hello, team, sisters.
It's so good to see all of you and to see you've got your seats ready. And thanks that you're all here, and to say to those that are with us hosting you in this space, thank you, Zab, for having us in your beautiful boardroom. Thank you. That's great. Thank you very much. Shall we go to Namibia? Thank you, Zambia. I better also just greet myself. Good morning, everyone. so that you don't think I'm rude. Yes, where are you? Ah, there you go. Thank you, sisters of Namibia. Nice to see you all. Good. Thank you. Patricia, show us your face. We haven't seen you for a long time. And Maria, all of you, thank you. Good. Yes. Who's next? Who wants to go next?
Lesotho.
Lesotho, go ahead.
I
was in the wrong country. Sorry. Wow, good. Thank you, sisters from Lesotho. That's a nice room. We should take it for ourselves. We should occupy it. Good. Thank you. Can we now have Namibia? And then we'll introduce ourselves as we go. I was just trying to make sure that we're ready to start, that all the countries are on track. Namibia, do you want to introduce yourself, or shall we go far across the ocean to Madagascar? Who is ready? Or Zimbabwe? Please, whoever's ready, just to have a quick hello.
Hello, hello. Nice to see you, Mercia.
Can we see your faces? Can we see your faces? Wow. Across. Wow, great.
Hello, guys. Hello. I love you.
So nice to see all of you. Thank you. So I think perhaps we should start, and the rest of us will introduce as we go. Is that okay? Please don't feel that we're prejudicing, giving some more space than others, if you don't mind, just so that we keep going. Thank you very much. Can we have the agenda again, please, Ronald? Thank you. So, sisters, the rules of how we're going to have the meeting, there is an agenda. We hope that, Beatrice, where are you? Can you show your face so that you can see the co-chair with me? There you, Beatrice. There we go. So between Beatrice and I, we see Namibia's banner as well. There is Beatrice and I. Beatrice is based, she's in Namibia, not in Malawi. So the two of us will chair this morning. But we have an agenda that we've put there for all to see. And it's really, really a wonderful, just to see all of our sisters are there, and it's good. I think we estimated that we will be over 120 participants in this meeting today. I suppose by the end of the webinar, we will give you the details. So I am going to ask that we start, and as people gather, we can just go and introduce ourselves. So I think it's important to just again say two things about the Rural Women's Assembly. Few things. We a regional movement across Southern Africa, and we have members in 10 countries in the region, and a membership across the region of over 120,000 women. So it's a really growing, vibrant movement of self-organized women's associations, mainly farmers, etc. Our main objective of today's meeting It's a speak out. We're calling this a speak out. It's not simply a meeting. It's for us quite an important intervention. And so before I move into the actual program, I'd like us just to set some rules. And the first rule, Namonde, is that when you are in the webinar or in the Zoom, we put our, and we want to speak to others, can we put our mic on mute? All right? So that's the first thing that all of us must do, so that we block out the noises, because this is a challenging way of working and speaking to each other. The second thing we ask you to do is at the bottom of this screen, you will see mute, then you will see the video. So when it's your turn to speak, please put on the video. If you don't want to use the video, it's also, we use less data when we switch off the video. If you want to look at all the participants, you go to you press on participants, and then you'll see all the people that's with us today. And it's really beautiful to see the range of friends across and movements from across the region that have come into this meeting today. And I'd like to welcome all of them, and we'll do it in a moment. Then you have the chat, and there you type up all the things that you want to say. Also, there's a question and answer section. So for us, we're going to try and manage this as best as we can. We're a movement that usually like to gather in spaces where we can sing together, do mysticas, have poetry, share seeds, and really be and create spaces where women can gather and speak and enjoy each other. And so this kind of way that we've had to work in the COVID period has been a challenging experience for us. But we realize that we're in a new moment, and this is a very challenging moment for us in the region, where there is growing poverty, growing challenges of hunger, etc. And we've organized today's meeting, the Speak Out on Farmer Input Subsidy Program or agricultural support programs, because for the Rural Women's Assembly, farmer support, agricultural support has always been one of the key issues that we focused on. And we focused on farmer support program and the subsidies linked to agricultural support, because this is money that comes from our public purse. It comes from the agricultural budgets in our countries. And in the past few years, each time we've focused on raising awareness and exposing the problems of the farmer input subsidy programs, we've become more and more conscious of the fact that this is a program that's been exploited. And in many cases, we say this is a program that's been captured, an agricultural subsidy program in our region that's been captured by agricultural and seed companies, fertilizer companies, and those associated with the Green Revolution. So today, again, we are going to focus on bringing attention. Women are going to share their experiences on this issue. And we hope that we're going to have people sharing their experiences, but we also want our partners to talk on their experiences, because we've invited farmer movements to join us here and those who track these issues. And we hope that we're going to, with you, explore how we can put pressure on our governments in the region, on SADC. In a couple of weeks, we have the SADC Heads of State meeting. And for the first time, it's not going to be a meeting where we are present and where we can march on the streets. It's going to be a virtual meeting. And so we're going to have to look at how in this time when we need more and more resistance, louder voices, stronger fight backs and pushbacks, how do we organize? How do we put our masks or organize with our masks so that we begin to expose the ongoing ways in which the Farmer Input Subsidy Programme has been captured? In South Africa, for example, we've had a recent, a couple of weeks ago, our Minister of Finance presented the country with a new budget. And the part of the budget that's been most reduced, the cuts have come from agriculture, food security, land reform. And the monies, the nearly 3 billion rand that's taken from agriculture and land reform has gone to greater policing and to the army. Now for us, this is not logical. This is a moment where we need more food, greater land reform, greater support for agriculture and localized farming production. So as an introduction, this is going to be the focus of our morning. So thank you very much. I hand over to my co-chair, Beatrice, and she may want to add, and then we'll go straight into the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mercia. I think you have really set the pace for the discussions today. Mainly, I think there are questions around, do we need farm input subsidies? And from the Rural Women's Assembly, if the answer is yes, I think we are more looking at what should be in that package and who should be assisted in what ways and from which demands that really safeguard the seed systems that are identified to the ideologies of the indigenous, the rural women and the farmers in general. So without further ado, I guess we should go into the discussion so that we can hear the voices that have joined.
So we have a number of speakers and we're going to, I think, I don't think because of time, we should go into the history of the farmer input subsidy programs, etc. We've had a number of these discussions within the Rural Women's Assembly, but for us, it's been a program that it was not handed to us on a plate. It was a program that movements in the region, farmer movements, had to fight for. And for us, it's really a tragedy that we had to fight for farmer support programs, and then it is captured by those associated with the multinational seed companies and fertilizer companies, and those who promote the green revolution in the region. So our experiences are going to be shared now. I want to suggest that we start with the countries that are ready. Can I have an indication of who would like to start? Do you want to start Swaziland? So
Zambia can.
Okay, if Zambia wants to start, you can also start, because we're going to try and have one or two of the women speaking, and then we will have one or two of our guest speakers also speaking, so that we collectively build the knowledge of how we feel about this program. So thank you, Zambia, if you start. Let's go. You can, You are welcome. Please introduce yourself as well, Mary, so that people know, etc. Let's go.
Okay. My name is Mary Sakala, a small-scale farmer representing Rural Women's Assembly, Zambia. First and foremost, I would like to thank the government for putting in place measures of preventing COVID-19 during the distribution of inputs. Because initially, most processes were done at a district level, causing congestion by the end of the day. I would also like to thank the government for commencing the distribution of 2020-2021 inputs in August, because usually they commence the distribution in November, and that brings a lot of challenges and repercussions, bringing some issues that women are not happy of. And there was a question of who benefits from this. There's a question of who benefits from the FISP. In Zambia, we've, ever since FISP started, we've undergone a lot of different systems on how the inputs can be distributed. The first system they used was conventional, where a farmer is just limited to what is there. If it is seed, hybrid seed and fertilizer, you only get that. Then the second system they brought after that, after our demands, was e-vouchers, where a farmer is entitled to a variety of inputs. Then there came the codes again. All these two vouchers and the codes are electrical. It was almost the same, except that we didn't have a Kama card. Then this time in 2020, 2021, they are promising to go back to the convention. But in all the systems they have used, every system carries its own challenge. In fact, some of them are repercussions, unwanted challenges, where you find that there's no efficiency in the system. But before I go there, let me talk of who benefits. In the convention, you find that the big beneficiary is the manufacturer of the fertilizer. The second beneficiary is a seed producer, a seed company. The third one will be a transporter. The fourth one is a farmer. In the electronic system, you find that the first beneficiary will always be the manufacturer, the producers of the chemicals. The second, a seed company. The third, a farmer. The fourth one, an agro dealer. So you can see how the trend is going. But there, what determines is who gets a bigger cake. Because when we started in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, the fertilizer was at 105, 120. Nowadays, the fertilizer is almost reaching 500 kwacha per bag, and who benefits? Even the seed is also high. So let me go to the challenges. FISP has never been enough, and it's not enough, and it will never be enough. So, because the efficiency part has never been achieved. Whatever the plan, it has carried its own challenges. To tell you the truth, last year we had a challenge, whether it's a challenge or a disgrace, where a certain woman who was waiting for inputs slept on the corridors for almost a week. By the end of the day, that woman was raped by a mad person. What a shame. Then the efficiency part has never been enough, as I said. Then there's this part of effectiveness. Yes, they say it's effective because they have managed. If they plan to give up to December, they extend the dates up to June. Then call it effectiveness as long as they have given. But has the government looked into what they are pumping in, the inputs compared to the output? The output nowadays has become so bad. Our soils are now degraded. The more we add fertilizer, the more the fertility goes down. And does the government even relate what they are doing to the current situation of climate change? So all those issues are not considered. There's a question I have. Why doesn't the government incorporate agroecology and the seed which is in the informal system? And why not strengthen the seed multiplication sector where they say a farmer can keep his own seed? That sector is there, it's not even funded, and many of the farmers do not know that they can multiply their own seed using that sector that is in the ministry. I know that others may say agroecology is a long-term thing, but for you to reach where you want to go, you start by a step. Why can't we start now? Things are going worse and worse. They are pumping in more money, but the output is so poor in such a manner that I don't think there are some people who does the monitoring or research or analysis. I don't know, because I'm speaking as a farmer. I'm speaking as someone who's seeing what is happening on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. I think you've been very thorough and you've raised quite thought-provoking questions to look at the money that's going towards these programs and the impact they are having, especially on women farmers. How can we make it better? Are they justifiable? How do we make it respond to some of the alternatives that are there, like agroecology? So those are some of the questions, and I think even our guest speakers are noting those. We'll now go to Zimbabwe, and they have also about 7 minutes to share. And we call upon Zimbabwe that, yeah, you also be as concise.
Okay, thank you. I'm Tsitsi. I'm representing RWA Zimbabwe. I would start by presenting our performance of FISP in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, the FISP programs comes under the Command Agriculture Program, and it is also complemented by the Presidential Input Scheme, which mostly benefits smallholder farmers in communal areas. We can see that both programs has been running for more than 5 years, but without tangible benefits to the smallholder farmers. In the country has also failed to regain the breadbasket status despite having FISP in place. So we can see that the FISP is not really making an impact towards agriculture. In fact, the country has been importing food from neighboring countries like Zambia and Malawi. We have seen that there are so many challenges associated with the Command Agriculture. Firstly, we can see that the program is run through the security forces with less involvement of agriculture officials who work with the farmers. Initially, it targeted farmers with irrigation facilities, thereby leaving out the rural women farmers in communal lanes and A1 resettlement schemes. But we can see that well, most small scale rural farmers, they contribute a lot towards agriculture production. In some areas, it is alleged that the inputs are normally channeled towards party loyalists as rewards and as an incentive to continue voting for political parties from the village to the national level. Thus, the command agriculture is viewed more as a political project for the ruling elite and its supporters, leaving out other farmers and citizens who are supporters of the opposition parties or non-political activists vulnerable because they are not really benefiting from the command agriculture program. We can see that the word command in itself implies force or giving no option. That's for women farmers. It scares them away and they end up not accessing the program. Command agriculture in Zimbabwe, it is associated with high levels of corruption, leakages, and we can see that they are diverting the public funds resources into the few of the in the pockets of the few. We can see that very few people, the elite ones, are the ones that are benefiting most in this command agriculture program. Most of the inputs are not being utilized in the field, but rather sold. Some of the people that are being given these the command agriculture products, they sell them for their own benefits, not instead of utilizing them in the fields. The inputs are often not provided in time, and sometimes farmers do not get full packages, and this usually results in planting delays and underproduction. Sometimes the inputs may come not in time, so while these farmers will be waiting for a long time to get the seeds, and such delays, it means their production is affected. In addition, we can see that the support is mostly coming through the hybrid seeds with no option for the indigenous seeds. The government in this program is not really consulting farmers, but rather it is imposing in terms of agroecological regions and seeds varieties. We can see that the farmers, the program, they just give same seeds across the whole country, but we have got different agroecological regions in terms of rainfall and even the types of soils. So I think there must be consultations before they start distributing the command agriculture products to the farmers. We can see that the production levels in Zimbabwe, they have remained low despite a remarkable spending by the government, from 4.85 between 2015 and 2016 to 76% in 2016 and 2017. In Zimbabwe, in 2019, we see that Zimbabwe experienced a 60% decrease in average household cereal stocks compared to 2018. 28% of the population was classified to be food insecure, and the number increased to 39% in 2019. Despite having subsidies in the form of command agriculture inputs, maize deliveries to the GMB, that's the Grain Marketing Board, have shown a continuing declining trend from the quantity delivered in 2016-2017 season, having 1.2 million tons. We can also see that in 2017-2018 season, maize deliveries to GMB were around 1.8 million tons, while in 2018, it fell by 78% to around 248 tons. You can see that there's been a quite decrease in terms of the maize delivered to the GMB. this demonstrates that the program is really targeting the wrong category of farmers. And again, this is affected by gazetted selling price of the grains. Like they set the same price, they set a very low price of selling the grains to the market. So they end up not selling the prices to the grain marketing board. And there was a research which was carried out by Zimbabwe Democracy Institute in 2019, which reviewed that 60% of the respondents interviewed indicated that command agriculture is characterized by corruption. So as Rwa Zimbabwe, we have come up with some recommendations that we feel if they are employed, they can have to the program, there might be a change. We recommend that the program should target rural small-scale farmers as the first beneficiaries of the program, because we see that most of the rural women, smallholder farmers are the ones that contribute most to the overall produce in the country. And in addition, we recommend that the government should also consider investing in other farming needs, like in irrigation infrastructure, in some areas where they receive very erratic rainfalls. We also recommend that the Ministry of Agriculture should consult farmers on their needs based on their ecological zones. Okay, so we also recommend that the government to address the issues of corruption, which is very rampant in the implementation of this program. They should also deal with militarization of the program. And we feel that if this will also boost investor confidence in the sector. And also we recommend that if the government should prioritize in giving traditional seeds, we feel that this program will have an impact. We also have a feeling that during this COVID period, most of the funds, they will be now channeled in trying to deal with the pandemic. And we feel that us as the rural farmers, we are going to be even affected more, as most of the funds, they'll be now targeting dealing with the pandemic, and the less attention will be given to the Command Agriculture Program. Oh, so that's our presentation in short. Thank you. I will leave.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zimbabwe. I think once all the groups will open a space for discussion, because the recommendations that you are making, I think, are some of the key issues that we should all be building the campaign around. So your people are also sticking to time very well. I think we're going to, I think, make a shift and invite our first panelist to speak. And then we'll go back and we'll intersect between the speakers, our guest speakers, and also our panelists. So thank you again, Zimbabwe, and thank you, my young sister. Thanks. Can we go to our next speaker? Beatrice, I hand over to you. Does Swaziland want to speak before the speaker? How do we go?
No, I think we should have the speaker, because he expressed interest to speak, I think, earlier. So maybe we get the guest speaker now, and then we can go to Swaziland after. So our speaker now would be Bright Pili. He is from Malawi, from the Eco Justice Network. He has had a lot of work on looking at biodiversity, looking at seeds and food sovereignty issues, but also with an interest in farm input subsidies across the region, and more specifically Malawi. So he's going to share some of the insights to these ones and how the programs can be designed to really respond to the needs of farmers, the needs of especially when we look at with all these investments that have happened, but we still have the low productivity challenge and the sustainability question still arises. So I now invite Bright Piri to take us through his thoughts on these issues.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon once again. Yes, I'm Bright Piri, and I'll spend the next 10 to 15 minutes just to give you the context of what we are calling our FISP program here in Malawi with respect to the outbreak, the COVID pandemic. But it will be very important if I start with the statistics. And well, just to highlight what is at stake, we can start with the region, Africa, in total. And from what we have established in—
Right, if you're able to share your screen probably so that people can follow your presentation, if it's possible.
We may have to make him the co-host for a minute or two so that he can share.
I have to try to link it. Let me try.
But let's not unless if it's going to take a lot of time, because our time is very restricted. We'll try and get you a co-host. It should be quick.
Can I share at the end the presentation?
I'm asking if it will be quick. Can we just make you the co-host quickly so that you share? You're able to do it?
Yes, Bright, you are the co-host, comrade. So maybe just accept the co-host and then you can share.
Oh, okay.
Apologies, people, for the technical problem.
Yeah, just 1 minute, okay. I have to refocus this. You know, technology always comes with a lot of learning. It will take me time. Can I just proceed without this?
Please proceed. Right. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. So I was saying within the African region, we have got what we see is about 80% of seed in Africa still being produced and shared using informal seed systems, basically through on-farm saving and integrated distribution of between farmers. While we have COVID outbreak in Malawi, in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, within this block, we are still seeing the trend playing out over and over again. Diffusion of seed within our region is still through bartering systems, where despite the social distance restrictions, farmers are still sharing and you know, meeting to just share whatever they have between themselves using the bartering systems. Again, it's well documented that the majority of farmers in Africa are women farmers, but they have got small farms. And significantly, with these women farmers, 2/3 of all farms in the region have below 2 hectares, and 90% of farms below 10 hectares. And again, it's well documented through research that though the figures may vary from region to region, but the studies are showing that about 70 to 80% of the seed that is planted in Africa is from farm-saved seed, basically local seed systems. So, and then we are also seeing the trend across the region where the FISP, it keeps changing its names because unfortunately within the region, the FISP program has been politicized. So with each coming political administration, they change the meaning, the scope, they change the name. It's also the same case with our with Malawi now. We have got a new administration, so already, as of yesterday, it has been given a new name, and I'll talk much about it. Just a quick spot check on what we used to call Farm Input Subsidy Program in Malawi. It has just been phased out, but this is how it was. As a program, as a national program, it created high dependency syndrome among farmers. Like I've just pointed out, for each administration that comes in, they will have to tie in the beneficiaries, to this program. Actually, during campaign times, that's what stands out. They'll bring in this program as a bait. Vote for me, and you will give out, these inputs subsidized by so much scale. And again, there's no exit strategy within the system. So for each government that comes in, they will continue talking about it. It might be paining, it might be bringing a lot of liabilities, it might have controversies, but none has ever attempted to phase it out or to scale it down. So most of the time, it's always just been rebranded, but not scaling it down, not doing it otherwise, just repackaging it time and again. It's a system in Malawi and elsewhere which has marginalized small-scale farmers to enter the seed market. Most of the time, it is just talking about monopoly crops, maize, whereas the majority of farmers are dealing with crops beyond maize. So it puts out a lot of people that are supposed to be beneficiaries or using it as an entry point to the market systems from being part of the process. And I've just said that there's a lot of thrust on subsidized hybrid maize and legume seed. For the program that has just been phased out in Malawi, they were giving out a pack of hybrid maize and legume, and also a small pack of fertilizer. Well, for those people that have come to Malawi from this audience, if you have come to Malawi, Malawi, the way it has been, the geographical positioning of Malawi, it has got different agroecological zones. So in the northern part of Malawi, these are districts of Kalonga, Chitipa. Most people there, they grow rice, okay? And if we come to the lakeshore side of Malawi, we've got a district called Nkhotakota. People grow there. Actually, the staple food there is a tuber crop called cassava. They process cassava into flour, and that's what they eat. If you go to the lower Shire part, the Shire Basin, Chikwawa and Nsanje districts, people, they only eat millet and sorghum. That's what they eat as staple food. Now, you come to Malawi where you find a national program, but without a national effect. They are only giving out maize seed. They are only giving out a subsidized pack of legume seed and a pack of fertilizer without thinking of what that effect will have for those people that don't eat maize as a staple food crop. So there's been a lot of social debate around who is really benefiting from this. Is it a national program, or it's a national program, but which is really trying to bring in, to be out of tune with the trends of farmer choices vis-a-vis varied food crops and food systems, or food choices that are in these areas. Again, we are noting that it has been a program that was heavily monopolized by large seed producers. Seedco, Pana Seed, Monsanto, Demeter Seed, these are the key players that have been needed, holding out and benefiting, being the major suppliers of seed, major suppliers of fertilizer. In Malawi, it's even more interesting. You would find that, like, for example, Farmers World would be a major supplier of seed in the FISP program, but Farmers World also owns Demeter Seed. So basically, they are supplying both fertilizer and they're also supplying the seed. Then you've got Yara, you've got Transglobe, you've got Rabu processors. They own Kulima Gold Agro Dealer Network. So basically, if they win the tender to supply seed using the FISP program, it means they're using their own agro dealers. So they are trying to beat the system there, and this is bringing a lot of corruption. Somebody mentioned the last two presenters, I think the first presenter, about programs within the region being modeled on the Green Revolution template. Same thing with Malawi. You find that it's a package of hybrid seed all the time, hybrid maize seed. And hybrid maize seed, everybody knows, it has to respond to chemical fertilizers. And it has to be protected by chemical herbicides and pesticides. And it has to be produced and controlled by agribusiness. And nobody's talking about nutrition security. So it's a program really that is not in tandem with the whole food and nutritional program, if I may put it that way. Now, over the last 2 days or 3 days, Malawians have woken up to learn that the FISP is normal. It has been phased out. We now have what they are calling Affordable Input Program. Well, it's the same FISP program, just repackaged, because now we've got a new administration. The goal is to enable Malawi to attain food security at household and national levels and to reduce poverty. And they've got a specific objective for this affordable input program. They're saying is to increase access to quality and improved farm inputs, such as fertilizers and maize seed. And who will be the beneficiaries of this program? They are targeting about 4,279,100 households. Basically, they'll be giving out 150 kilograms bag of urea fertilizer, 150 kilogram bag of NPK fertilizer, and 1 pack of 5 kg hybrid maize seed. There will be a choice. You can either take 5 kg hybrid maize seed, or you can take 7 kg OPV maize seed. How will this play out? Basically, the whole program has been tied to those that have got valid national identity documents. Now, I have to point out, unlike places like Botswana, South Africa, where people have always been accustomed to have national IDs, in Malawi, the issue of national IDs has just surfaced, or it has only come into being 2 years ago. As I'm talking to you now, not even my grandmother have got an ID. So it's a program now that has been tied to national ID documents. We are in the COVID period, and we just had fresh presidential elections. One of the things that was noted to be bottlenecks of that presidential election, which has just passed, is people couldn't, not all people that are eligible to vote could vote because they lack the national identity document. People are not able to go and process it. The processing centers are limited, and then you've got people that are really fearing to be exposed to the risks of coronavirus. So it's a program that is about to be rolled out, affordable input program, but whoever has to benefit from this program has to produce a valid Malawi national ID. And hello?
Your concluding thoughts around it? You have a minute.
So what I can simply say is how we are migrating from the FISP program, just repackaging it into different names. No matter how hard we may try to do it, there's still no miracle of the package of the FISPs without holistic approach to solving issues like, for example, land. In Africa, in Malawi, small-scale farmers, rural women farmers, they need land. So a genuine agrarian reform that can redistribute land to the poor, that should precede these national programs such as what has been introduced in Malawi to boost food production, whatever their form, that can really help to complement what already government is doing in terms of subsidizing inputs for farmers. I will leave you with some concluding remarks, and this is just a word from the shooter, and he observed in 2010, he said, but increasing food production to meet future needs, while necessary is not sufficient, for it will only allow significant progress in combating hunger and malnutrition. And if it is not combined with higher incomes and improved livelihoods for the poorest, particularly small-scale farmers in developing countries, to achieve high productivity, however we can try to pour money into agriculture, will not be sufficient. What we need to do in the region as Africa is to take steps that facilitate the transition towards low carbon resource preserving type of agriculture that can benefit the poorest of farmers, including women farmers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Very, very useful and very challenging, and particularly the transition that we need to make as the Rural Women's Assembly. For us, the issue of agroecology has been key, but we'll talk about that as we go forward. So thank you for your thoughts, your contribution, and your willingness to partner us. Thanks very much. I want to move now to Swaziland and invite our sisters from Swaziland. And after the sisters from Swaziland, we will invite the sisters from Madagascar. Thanks.
Hi, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ntshona. I'm a small-scale farmer. I will present on behalf of rural women in Swaziland. As we all know, that the FISP program in the region is informed by two declarations, the Malabo and the Maputo. What our government is doing is that we pay different amount of money on different varieties. For maize, it's 3,000, sorghum, it's 2,050, beans, it's 4,000, then transport, it varies according to the distances. They range up to 5, from 270 up to 5. So the challenges that we have as the rural women, it's the delay of getting the subsidies on time. It's also it's that the prices are too high. They're not affordable for a typical rural women. And the quality of the seeds are not the seeds that the rural women owns, because when you talk about rural women, we are talking about agroecology, and in our tradition, when you go to get married, you are given seeds. So those seeds, you own them, you know them for generation to generation, which is not happening with the program. And you are also given the hybrid seeds that destroys the soil and the food. It also destroys the environment too, because during the rainy or flooding seasons, it goes down to the river. What are the successes? Provision of the subsidies to farmers, provision of seed according to the geographical climate, because you are just giving seeds of not your choice, whereas we've got the different climate in the 4 geographical regions of the country. So the way forward for us as the rural women is that to educate the farmers that we have on the climate change and the adaptation measures, involving of farmers in policy formulation, empowering farmers to produce their own indigenous seeds so that it can prevent and delays and also save them money for buying every year. As I've said, that the hybrid seeds, you buy them every farming season, and you find that sometimes the seeds are not healthy, are not good for our health. To have seed banks at family level, to community, then to region, as much as we do have the national seed banks in our country, full implementation of the Maputo Declaration, which clearly stipulates that it should be 10% of the national budget to agriculture. And for now in our country, we have been ranging between 6 to 7. And now during the COVID-19 that we're facing in the world, I think it's going to drop. And as we're facing the COVID, we have seen that most of the people in the community are hungry. Even the elderly grants that have been delayed, as much as the government said they'll be giving us subsidies or food, it's only for those who are not benefiting from the elderly grants, which becomes a question that, are we supposed to lose our own old people in the country? The desalinization of the tractors, and also the late delay of the government to pay the contracts. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. It's really good to hear what's going on at country level. So Swaziland, a big thank you to you for your hard work also. So we go now to Madagascar. Thank you, sisters.
Thank you, Mercia. Let me introduce the team to you, everyone. I am Vola, and Nufi is the media coordinator. We also have Lilia here. Maybe she can show her face a little bit. Lilia is the president of the Rural Women Association in Madagascar. Okay, so maybe Ronald can share our presentation to the team. Thank you, Ronald. So for Madagascar, despite the commitment regarding the budget issue, we have never reached the 10% that had to be allocated to the agricultural sector. This year, we have about 6.5% of the state budget. The successive regimes in Madagascar seem to have given priority to the agricultural sector in their respective development plans, without really tangible long-term impacts. We have the feeling that it's more meant for selling the national plan than to be really effective. We have the current emergence plan, which aims at an economic transformation driven by the so-called dedicated activity zones and pillar sectors such as tourism, mining, agribusiness, and blue economy. So among other prejudicial impacts of such an approach on small farmers, an agricultural policy based on the promotion of agribusiness is particularly detrimental to rural women, for whom keeping their lands and feeding their families and communities will become extremely difficult. The implementation of the agricultural policy has not produced the expected results so far, due to its inadequacy with the needs of the majority of small agricultural producers. The poverty rate has increased. The country still has to import a large quantity of rice every year, and the issues of food insecurity and malnutrition have worsened. Just to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 pandemic, these have highly affected farmers' social and economic situation, especially rural women. who already had to deal with the effects of climate change, and most of those rural families are currently suffering from chronic malnutrition and food insecurity. So the support programs for the agricultural sector prove to be inadequate and do not benefit small farmers as intended. There have been a lot of programs, support programs to the farmers. There were the so-called agricultural development funds, but the relating procedures were too complex for most farmers and took too long that many of those who really needed those funds could not access to them actually. And such funds are only available in few regions and not necessarily those that need them most. Support for rural women is unstructured, sporadic, and often done through donations, and especially donations of hybrid seeds. And many other programs, such as loan programs or conditions by the use of these hybrid seeds, making farmers dependent on food companies that produce the seeds and the chemical fertilizers they need, exactly as the case with GMO-based seeds, actually. These seeds come from China and were distributed without any technical support or any clarification on their use or on their impacts. Seven regions were targeted by the distribution of 300 tons of hybrid seeds, including 3 regions which are considered as the country's rice granaries. Indeed, the production seemed to have increased, but the farmers did not get as much benefit as they expected. I'm not going to talk too much about the negative aspects of hybrid seeds, because I think we all know. I just want to focus on the fact that these seeds are not reusable and require more and more chemical fertilizers compared to traditional seeds. So consequently, finally, they cost more to producers who also have to pay back the seeds each time. And of course, there's the issue of soil degradation, and which in the long run reduces farmers' production capacity. So Malagasy farmers, especially rural women, fear that after this kind of pilot phase, the government would orient its agricultural strategy towards the promotion of hybrid seeds. So rural women here are calling on the SADC to support them, urging the state to implement these few recommendations, which are to respect, first of all, its commitment under the Malabo and the Maputo Declaration, and really allocate the 10% budget to the agricultural sector, to take into account the impacts of the COVID-19 crisis by urgently adopting an agricultural policy based on the principles of food sovereignty and climate justice, put women and girls at the center of their recovery efforts in the agricultural sector, and make them leaders and equally involved in decision-making at all levels. Also, adopt a participatory approach involving rural women in the development of mitigation and adaptation strategies to the effects of climate change, which is not the case currently. Also, to reorient efforts to promote agribusiness and contract farming by giving priority to strengthening support to small producers in family farming, who constitute the large majority of actors in the agricultural sector. Establish a specific and structured policy and support programs for rural youth and women, promoting their access to means of production such as lands, loans, wood quality seeds and materials, and so on. Also, eradicate security in rural areas, which has become a major challenge for producers, and which is mainly affecting rural women in Madagascar. abandon the promotion of imported hybrid seeds and direct its support towards national research centers and local seeds producers to allow farmers choosing for themselves the type of seeds that best suit to their needs. And finally, develop a strategy to protect biological seeds and promote the use of biological inputs and the biological production in Madagascar. Thank you.
Beatrice?
Thank you, I think, Swaziland and Madagascar for sharing your inputs. I think having listened to the previous country reports, you see the similarities around the program, and maybe it's just changing in terms of design, but the impact and the effects that rural women are experiencing from the different programs in different countries seem to be the same. So we then move on maybe to hear also inputs from Lesotho and Namibia, but then we ask more that you focus on what exactly needs to be done, because we're looking at time. What is it that should be done to change the status quo? So Namibia, please come, and then you ask also that you keep mind of time.
Where is your phone? You are close to your phone. Should I start? Good afternoon, sisters. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah. Mercia, can you hear me?
And I can see you. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm Yvonne from Namibia. I'm a small-scale farmer. I'm representing Namibia. The Fisher program is falling under Ministry of Agriculture, and it's divided into different programs, which is the horticulture, the dryland, and then the NAMSA. With the horticulture project, you need to have 0 to 5 up to 1 hectares, depending from the size. And then the government is meeting you halfway, which is a 50-50%. The dryland crop is actually meant for the rain-feed areas, whereby the farmers are trained to plough with the donkeys and the oxen. The NAMSA program is helping the farmers with seeds, fertilizers, the pesticides, the water tanks, the drip systems, and gardening tools. The government is paying 60% and the remaining is paid by the farmers. But we are so challenged by the system. This sounds very interesting and looks good from far, but the system is very challenging. Not all women are benefiting from the program. We are so limited. You can only order 2 kg seeds per household, and even if you want to go for a commercial purpose, you don't qualify. And the seeds, the government is only supplying us with the hybrid seeds, and we don't have access to, we don't have indigenous seeds. Even the tractor, there is only 1 tractor per region. By the time the tractor is reaching your area, the plowing season is over. And the agricultural extension officers are also limited with their transport, and they cannot reach all the farmers on time. And still we are using the flat irrigation system in our area, and whereby we are wasting water. And the challenges that we are still facing in our area is, in our region, is the woman-wildlife conflict. Most of the government is advising us to go for the backyard gardens in some areas where there are elephants. And then when the elephant is destroying your garden, the Ministry of Environment and Tourism cannot compensate you because you don't meet their requirements, which is 1 hectare. By now, the water ponds and the boreholes are drying up because we don't have enough water in our country. We didn't receive enough rain. The rainfall is because we are facing another drought now. So the demands from the Namibian rural woman is the beneficial and affordable programs to everyone. to empower farmers to produce their own indigenous seeds. We also want seed banks in all 40 regions of Namibia. We also want the government to increase the kilometers for the extension officers to reach the farmers on time. And that's from the Namibia sisters. Mercia, are we together?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm so pleased to see all of you. I haven't seen the Namibia sisters, and to see you all, thank you. And Patricia at the back there as well. So wonderful, sisters. It's great to have all of you. It's clear you've missed us, and I'm pleased you are also together. So thank you very much. I'm going to move on now because time is really catching us. So the next one is going to be, it's Mozambique and South Africa are the two that's still left, and there is Lesotho. Lesotho, do you want to go next? Yes. Sisters from Lesotho, can you go next? There we go. Thank you. The sisters from the Rural Women's Assembly are really getting very well organized with their PowerPoints and everything. Impressive. So let's go. Comrades, let's try and stick to time as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mercia, and the rest of the team. Good day, sisters. My name is Mpati Kugami from Lesotho. I'm a small-scale farmer, and I'm representing Hope for Rural Women's Assembly, Lesotho. So as Mercia has already mentioned, we are running out of time. I'll just go through the demands and recommendations as suggested. So, challenges, they said no? Okay. Let me just go to start with the challenges very quickly. So the incentives to diversify from insufficient farmers to access inputs at lower and affordable prices. That was initially the policy for the FISP in Lesotho, but this is not happening. What is really happening is that they are targeting only few individuals who are commercial farmers and also contributing to the corruption. Again, they stated that they will practice to give the crops to the farmers and livestock. Not all crops are subsidized. Mostly it's GMOs, maize, and nothing. As already mentioned by the other countries, that the only thing that they're able to subsidize is the hybrids. So again, they said that they will do the way of helping poor households and smallholder farmers to access inputs at lower and affordable prices. But what is really happening is different from what is stated in the policy. What they do is that this is only the business people, meaning that they sell this or they give this to large-scale farmers to sell them to the small farmers at rural areas at very high prices, meaning that in our country, it is not really happening, this thing of getting these pieces in affordable prices. We really buy them in market prices. The crops are subsidized in areas which are agroecological appropriate. This is what was initially planned by our government. They said that they will provide us with the subsidies which are agroecological and appropriate to our places. But what is really happening is that the only subsidized what is happening is that they are only giving us the maize, whether it is agroecological or appropriate to a place of living or not. Another challenge that we are facing as Rural Women Assembly is that we don't have enough information about this business, meaning that the lack of information is there. We don't know much about them. We don't know when they are there at the depot. We don't know anything about them. We just hear them. We just hear about them after the plowing season is. Even in the lowlands, they are getting inputs in most cases very late. Again, when you are at rural areas, you should collect these FISP at the depot, which is at Maseru. So moving from the rural areas to get this is very, very expensive. So I will move quickly to the demands and our recommendation. So as Hope for Rural Women's Assembly Lesotho, we say we need gender inclusive subsidy. Again, we need agriculture policy which puts small scale farmers at the center. We need agriculture policy formulation which is using human rights approach. Inputs include farmer safety and should be available in all districts. Subsidy should respond to the needs of small-scale farmers. Government to prioritize family farming. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Lesotho, for those recommendations, but also insights on how we can move forward. Can we now have Mozambique? What is it that you think it needs to be done? Really focusing on what brings change to the rural women movements around the countries. So after Mozambique, then we'll ask South Africa to be ready with their input as well. So unfortunately, as we get close to time, we don't have the luxury of having you speak for 10 minutes. So we ask you to really stick to time, 3 minutes. That would be great. Mozambique, please. Is that you, Flida?
Hola, hola, hola.
Please.
Beatrice, can you hear me? Hi, Beatrice.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Yeah, because she'll be speaking and she will be speaking and I'll translate.
Okay, please go ahead.
Posso continuar? Sim. Em primeiro lugar, quero saudar a todos que foram os primeiros a apresentar. Nós ficamos muito fortes e gostamos das apresentações.
And then who is going to translate for us, guys?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say hi to everyone who has spoken before me, and we are really connected to you, and we feel that we are identified with we identify your struggles with our struggles.
E espero que não vou falar daquilo que falaram as minhas companheiras, que são a situação comum a nível da África. Então, vou também retomar para falar outros problemas que nos afetam aqui em Moçambique.
I'm not issues that are already said, so I'm going to talk about those things that were not.
Temos problema das sementes, problema de seca. Então, isto afeta muito a produção das mulheres.
Okay, in Mozambique, we rely on rain to produce. Most of our land is rain-fed. So our issue, it's not the fertilizers, because our agriculture is organic. We have different issues.
Bem, nós acompanhamos e também temos a nossa informação em como realmente aqui em Moçambique nós temos problemas sérios de como podemos ser ajudados com o nosso governo, que ainda não estamos conseguindo alcançar como nós podemos ser ajudados. Mas tem um programa que passou, que se diz Comida pelo Trabalho, mas aquilo não beneficiou toda a comunidade até a passe. Em algumas pode ser que beneficiaram, mas não todas as camponesas a nível nacional.
Okay, here in Mozambique, we had two programs. One was vouchers, and it benefited only one province and not all the districts in that province. The other one was work, and you would access seeds or fertilizers, but none of these programs benefited rural women, the small-scale farmers.
O que nós queremos como prática da agricultura a nível do país, nós, as mulheres camponesas, queremos uma agricultura que não prejudica o solo do nosso país, porque nós temos o nosso solo muito fértil, que nós produzimos os alimentos sem precisar de adubos químicos, e nós precisamos muito mais de adubo orgânico. E isso estamos a implementar a nível nacional.
Our land is fertile, and also we use our indigenous seeds. We don't want subsidy that they distribute fertilizers, and we fight for that. We don't want. And also we say we don't want improved seeds or GMO seeds. So that is not the big issue for us. Our issue is support from the government on means of transport to produce, to take our produce from the village to the city or to town, where we can sell our produce at a good price, because our produce is organic. So, I mean, it should have good price. And also we ask our government, we always do that. This is what we are doing in our daily lives, that our government should give us means of production, tractor, multi-cultivator, that every farmer can access.
Neste momento, nós estamos a lutar para termos uma agricultura que, pelo menos, pode ter com uma produção e termos um preço justo das nossas vendas, porque neste momento nós não estamos a conseguir vender os nossos produtos. Produzimos muito hortícola a nível do país, produzimos mais alguns cereais que é preciso que seja comprado para ajudar a vida das mulheres, mas os preços não ajudam para nós os camponeses. E neste momento também está a acontecer uma coisa muito complicada. Nós os camponeses, o que nós queríamos é que pelo menos tivéssemos uma equilibração da chuva a nível nacional. Mas neste ano foi pior. Em algumas províncias só choveu até em fevereiro. E daí secou, algumas culturas foi perdida. Então, estamos também a ter o problema de seca a nível do país. As mudanças climáticas não ajudam a produção. E nós, como mulheres, confiamos só na produção de comida para comercializar e resolver os nossos problemas dos nossos filhos e de nós próprios e alimentar o povo moçambicano. Mas quando há essa mudança, e nós estamos a ficar muito complicado com esse problema.
Since our agriculture is practiced on rain-fed land and also on lowlands, the climate changes become an issue for us. So, and also we don't get support like, irrigation systems. So what we've been also struggling with our government, and we place always on the table of discussion, is that our leaders look at the climate issues and also maybe give us different type of subsidies by providing irrigation for our lands so that we can produce, we keep on producing, even though climate changes, it's a reality.
Obrigada. E para terminar também queria salientar que a UNAC está a promover sempre a resgate das sementes a nível nacional. Este é papel das mulheres, como as mulheres foram elas que descobriram a agricultura na história mundial. Então, nós, as mulheres aqui em Moçambique, também estamos a resgatar as sementes nativas para a produção de alimentos. E muito obrigada, Tata. Obrigada.
We all know, and it's even our slogan, that the women are the guardians of seeds. So here in Mozambique, we have been working to have our own seed banks at a national level. Each woman must have her own seed banks, and we don't want to depend on seeds from the government given as subsidy. Thank you, and ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you so much for those inputs, really tying into what needs to be done. South Africa, are you ready?
Yes, we are.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, good day, everyone. My name is Busisiwe Mkangela, South African agroecology farmer. I'm a member of a Rural Women Assembly in South Africa. One thing that has taught us during this COVID pandemic, it has shown in South Africa that we are so much unequal. It has shown the inequality that is rife in our country, the poverty that is rife in our country, and the gender-based violence, because it has since increased since the lockdown in the pandemic. In South Africa, we have no policy for agroecology. And as a result, rural women that are doing agroecology are being marginalized by the extension officers who have not been trained on agroecology. And because of defense mechanisms, then they tend to shy away the farmers that are needing inputs on agroecology. And because of time, I'm just gonna highlight most of the important challenges that we are having. We have drought in South Africa, much as other countries, but you find that with drought relief in South Africa, the tender system is very much flawed, and it is according to corruption, as you know what is happening in South Africa. You find that the vast majority of the money or the chunk that has been put for that drought relief will be going to the service providers, the tenderpreneurs, and the farmers will be getting far less than what they are supposed to be getting. And there were recommendations that were put to the government by the farmers to cap that, but then those are falling in deaf ears. Again, with drought, the department that is the government is prioritizing livestock farmers, which is red meat only. All other amenities are not looked after in drought relief. And then maize production program, it is tailor-made to the GMOs and the use of glyphosate as herbicide, which causes cancer. And monocropping is the thing that they're looking at. They talk of commercializing farmers. And when they talk of commercializing farmers in the rural areas, it is against what they believe, because they say agroecology is not scalable, which is not the truth. And they find it difficult to commercialize the rural women because they are doing agroecology, saying it won't work. So the problems and the challenges that we have, we need to solve them by having a food sovereignty versus food security, because we know food sovereignty is looking at the health and the nutrition, so that diseases like the pandemic COVID-19 cannot affect the people, because they will have their immune system boosted. Because if you do food sovereignty, you're looking at your nutrition, at your health, and the food that is well balanced being the emphasis, while food security, it emphasis on availability of food, not looking at how food is produced and not looking at the nutrition value of the food. And again, with land access, as Rural Women Assembly, we once had campaigns on 1 hectare, 1 household. But the Department of Land Reform is saying they are doing it, but it's just lip service, because that 1 hectare, 1 household is not practiced in the rural areas. If it is beneficial to others, it will be other farmers, but not the rural farmers. Women need farms, because if then they are talking about commercialization, then they need to have farms from land reform from the government. But you'll find that the women are the most that are not prioritized. If we talk of our seed, we need to have our indigenous seeds, our OPV seeds, we need to have seed banks, and the inputs like the compost, if we want to use organic fertilizer, let the government buy rock phosphate for us. Let them make means so that we can have our worm farming for vermicompost, which we know yield results. Because South Africa is a water scarce country like other countries, we need inputs like tanks, dams, and boreholes and irrigation material. You'll find that in the rural areas, there is land where we can have dams, and there are dams that are already there, but dam scooping is a problem. And you'll find that when it rains, then the rainwater that is coming, that is supposed to be harvested and conserved in the dams, cannot be, because the dams are full of mud. And one other challenge is fencing. If you see in the provinces like Eastern Cape has vast lands which are lying fallow that are not arable, because there is no fencing. And even the camps for the livestock, they have no fence. It was last done by the independent government during the times of the TPVC states. But with this present government, they are not looking at all at infrastructure for fencing. And also farmers need training and skills development in agro-processing if they're talking about commercializing rural women. Again, with GPV, we cannot not mention that, because we need vigilance, police visibility, and justice need to be served, so that then they don't take rapists and arrest them, and the next day they are released. Thank you very much.
So thank you very, very much, my sisters. Bosie, you've been great. It's really all the things that you are raising, I think is critical. So we've heard, I hope I haven't left out, between Beatrice and I, we haven't left out any of the country chapters. If we have, please indicate in the chat. I thought we've covered everybody. The next part of the program, we've invited the guests. We haven't yet made a summary, but you can see the issues across the region are similar. Women are saying that the money from our public purse is being captured. They are not benefiting. Local seed systems, farmer-managed seed systems are not being supported. Women farmers are not being supported. The big companies, fertilizing companies, the red meat producers, all of the commercial parts of agriculture, what our governments see as profitable, seem to be gaining. We'll come back to this in a moment. We now want to go shift gear, and we are going to invite Christabel. She's going to speak. They're one of our partners, and already there's beginnings of ideas of what we could be taking up together as possible campaigns in the region. After that, we're going to have ISAF, Farmers East and Southern African Farmers Forum. Many of our members are in ISAF, or they are in Levia Campesina, and then we will have ZAP, and we will have Levia Campesina, and each will talk a little bit about what they see in relation to FISP and how we can join hands. Thank you very much. It's over to you, Christabel, and a big welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, sisters. This is an honor to join you. My name is Christabel Piri from the Southern Africa Trust, And this has really been such a wonderful discussion, and some of the things that have really come out from the country presentation. So I'm just going to speak very quickly, taking into consideration the time, is that I think as some of the issues that have been raised, one of the key things that I wanted to speak on is how do we support the Rural Women's Assembly to really bring out these issues to specific spaces and policy spaces within the context of SADC. How do we work together to engage government to address these issues? Obviously, the impact of the pandemic on most of the national government has caused them to shift priorities. And one of our biggest concerns will be, how much resources is going to be allocated towards agriculture. They have to service the debt. There are all these issues that are arising, but food is the main thing that we need right now. And most people are not having access to food, and the producers of the food do not have adequate support. So how can we work together as women? How can we bring to government's attention to address these challenges that you have raised? All the points that you have raised are things that we have been discussing in other spaces, trying to put up demands towards SADC to say what can be done, and all the issues that you've raised is what other groupings are also raising, priority on climate change issues, access to extension services. I think the key issues that you have raised. So my main recommendation is, how do we take it forward from here? How can we collaborate to engage governments at national level and bring these issues to their attention to say, these need to be urgently addressed, and we need these resources. We are getting to the farming season, and there are opportunities. So I look forward to really taking some of the issues that you've raised and engaging further with the leadership of Rural Women's Assembly to say, how do we bring these issues to SADC, and how do we work with member states to addressing these challenges and taking it forward. So I'm going to leave it there and just allow the other speakers to also have an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Christabel. This is an important issue that we must deal with, because we've spent weeks trying to get SADC to be with us in the Speak Out. And by yesterday we had confirmation that there would be one of these representatives here. This morning, when we reminded him, there was his phone was off. So we will take this up, and we will, we're recording everything, the demands, and certainly as the ROA, we are going to, I am trying to be measured. We are going to engage them in a robust manner. So thank you. I want to suggest, as we go now, we have Joe. I don't know if you can hear us. Otherwise, we still have a few partner organizations that must speak. It is ZIMSOF, it's La Via Campesina, and it's ZARP. So where is Joe? Are you able to be online with us?
Yes, I'm online. And,
good, thank you very much. You're very welcome. Please introduce yourself.
I was traveling, and then I don't know if I can share my screen very quickly. For the technical person. May I know if I can share the screen, or I can
You may share the screen, Joe. I've made you a co-host as well.
That's very good. This is indeed wonderful. Thanks very much, Mercia. And this is a real assembly. I'm excited myself to see the entire right from the north to Namibia and Madagascar. So I'm going to do a very quick in terms of looking at the FISP, because so many things we have discussed and we know from the ground. So we don't need, and in fact, I'm feeling ashamed myself to make this presentation, but because I was a bit disorganized, please bear with me. But basically, I'm going to speak in terms of the FISP. We're working with Action Aid and other consortium members. So I'll give an experience from the 5 countries where we are working. Just very quickly, I think we all know about the FISP. We all know about agroecology, and we know that moving forward, agroecology is much more cheaper. It's not putting farmers into trap. Myself, I'm a farmer, and in my villages, in fact, one extension officer told me that, no, agriculture is becoming expensive. You better not farm. And I was shocked. And indeed, it's becoming expensive because of the input that we are being directed by the government to use. And in fact, is not doing very good thing as far as farming is concerned. And I'm glad to hear that Mozambique is doing quite fine as far as farming without using this intensive input is concerned. So this is basically the state obligation, making sure that food is there, making sure that industry operating, making sure that we can trade, making sure that we can live happily. This is the state obligation, and then we have to target our states moving forward. So we did with Action Aid and other partners a small study that involved about 300 smallholder farmers, comprising 32 villages in Malawi, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Zambia, but basically using a scorecard. And what is the findings now that we can say? Despite all the policies that are in place, despite all the good things that the governments are doing, we have had in Zambia, we are still hungry. And this year we are at the record level. 45 million people have food insecurity in SADC by now. So this is shocking. 45 million people. So imagine, even if we take the entire population of South Africa, normally we can't reach this target. So how is the scheme? I think the largest by 2019 was Zambia, targeting about 1.2 million farmers. And this morning, Madam Sakala said is going to target, is it Malawi or in Zambia as well? It's going to be increased. So in Mozambique is the smallest. And maybe we need to learn from Mozambique. It's about 24,000 people by 2018. So that is the list. If you go to Malawi, I think PD talked about is going to target even more farmers. Tanzania is also not very big, but according to the population, because now it's about 50 million people, is about 379,000 people, significantly. So what does this mean? Tanzania is spending almost 30 budget on FISP. Zambia, the largest, is spending 26%. And look at Malawi, more than half of the Ministry of Agriculture budget is going to FISP. So it means that we need to look, if we look at the numbers of the people that we are hungry now in Southern Africa, and look at the amount that we are putting, I think there's something wrong that we need to be doing, especially we small-scale farmers. I can't really go to the criticism on FISP. I think this ACB has done a lot of studies, and other organizations, they've done a lot of studies. We see like food and nutrition insecurity is in the increase, is a top-down, is poor designed, without really having the voice of the marginalized. And also a lot of leakages we have had South Africa, we have had in Swaziland and so forth, and also corruption, but also political patronage, as in Malawi. So in short, we can say, now moving at the other criticism, I think is promoting unsustainable agriculture and deplete fragile soil and ecosystem, and also undermine local seed system, reduce dietary agro biodiversity. That's why we have a lot of malnutrition in our countries. Malawi is around 36%, Tanzania is almost the same, around 30. DRC is around 38. And Madagascar, unfortunately, is around 40% of malnutrition and stunting. So really we have to change if we want to move forward. Some talked about the Malabo. Now you can see on your screen the way how we performed. Of course, the first three is Mauritius, Zambia, and Tanzania, followed by Madagascar. But no country really came to the red bar in terms of achieving the Malabo. Even with the Malabo, looking at the bar, the black one here is the bar. We are supposed to be at 6.6, but no country in SADC is achieving the Malabo. So we have issues here moving forward. And unfortunately, we can see the last country with 2.88 is South Africa, followed by Lesotho, and DRC Congo, Botswana, and other countries like Zambia, Namibia, moving forward to Mauritius, which is 5.98. So we need to push, even if when it comes to, so what are the recommendations? Moving forward, I think we need to do further research or compile the research that is being done by ACB or Action 8 on FISP, so that we can come with alternatives. We have loved Mercia if we can come with the manifesto that we can front to SADC and other member states, I mean the countries that we're coming from. Number two, I think we need to fight the removal of fertilizer as an indicator in the Malabo declaration goal, because this is used like a pretext to push for more fertilizers in the region. Forget about the GMO and few countries that have embraced the same. And I think there is a linkage, so to speak, between in terms of body, in terms of people immunity and what they are eating. I don't know, maybe a study on COVID later on will tell us as a way forward. Number three, we need to engage SADC and LILUC on their seed harmonization agenda, so that it can include also OPV and a farmer managed seed system. If we talk to the official, they are saying that thing, that's grain that is used by farmers to plant is not seed. They have their own category. So let them also recognize this is a seed, because this is the food that they're eating. And here they're denying that this is not a seed, it's just a cultivar or grains. Number four, we need to strengthen, establish a small-scale farmer CSO inclusive food and nutrition and cancer at district level and at national level. And this is under the SADC nutrition strategy. And number four, we need to look at the, to review the FISP. Number six, we need to strengthen and reorient the rural extension. Someone talked about the rural extension. Really, they are there just to push for the input intensive agriculture that is making agriculture even more expensive for smallholder farmers, youth, and rural women. But also number seven, which is much more important, we need to work with other like-minded organizations at national level. I think this, I can't emphasize, we need to push, because the budget is the most important instrument that we need to engage. Otherwise, business as usual might continue. So we need to engage really on the planning. Some countries are putting in place the agriculture investment plans. I think Malawi and Zambia, we need really to engage when they are putting in place those plans. Because once the plans are there, it's like a political manifesto of the party. Once it's there, it's very difficult to change. So let me engage on planning. Let me engage even in a political manifesto. Let me engage and make sure that our issue as far as agroecology is taken into account. And the issue of budgeting, let me study the budget cycle and engage massively, because that's where we can make changes and say, no, FISP is not really going to help us, it's going to help the multinational companies and not really smallholder farmers, because the agriculture is becoming expensive. We had other recommendation at national level and at SADC level, but I think let me stop up there. And maybe one note is that the SADC summit is coming this month, I think on 7th, and probably they're going to do virtually. So, but we can come with a manifesto whereby we can ensure that all the foreign ministries they are saved with the manifesto from the Rural Women Assembly. Let me stop up there, Mercia, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Over to you.
Thank you. You are stealing my idea. I think it's a very, very important presentation. Thank you very much for this. It stimulated a lot, and you've brought together some of the demands that women are making. I hand over to my co-chair, Beatrice, who calls on the next round of speakers. Comrades and friends and sisters, please bear with us if we extend the time for 15 minutes, if you don't mind. Thank you. Beatrice.
Thank you, Mercia. Thank you, Joel. I think for now we can have inputs and reactions from Francis of ZAD. Then soon after, we'll not have to call anyone in. Soon after, then we'll have Nelson to also share inputs. And then after Nelson, we'll have Elizabeth of La Via Campesina. So if we can also keep the time, that would be great.
Greetings, everyone. From Zambia, we are with from the Zambian Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity. And we've gathered here today with Rural Women's Assembly Zambia, and just very happy to be part of this process. Thank you, Rural Women's Assembly. Thank you, sisters from across the region for gathering. We would love to be together in person, and this pandemic has stopped us from gathering. So as the Zambian Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity, we really support sisters throughout the region who are standing strong, demanding from the government that they are provided with the support that they deserve. Agroecology and farmer managed seed systems are the future. They are what's going to enable us to adapt to climate change, to build back rural livelihoods, to claim land, to claim back seeds and our life in Southern Africa. And so we're very grateful to be able to be part of this process, and thank you for everyone's contributions. And we join our sisters here in Zambia in these deliberations continually now and in the next months as we continue to engage government here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Francis. Can I have Nelson?
Thank you very much, Beatrice. This is a very interesting discussion, and it's touching issues that we always talk about in the civil society, those that are much more to doing with sustainable livelihoods. And I would like to get back to the discussion with a very big thank you to RWA for organizing kind of a talk where we will need to elaborate on the issues that touches us as farmers. And myself as a farmer on the ground, I usually like to talk to farmers on the ground and talk to them where they actually see what is happening on the ground. But I'm not going to do this now because of so many limitations that are there which are affecting us, which we know very well. For example, the common COVID. But I would want to zero on to the issues that Joe has actually alluded to, and I want to take that through and would like to focus my attention to that. But before that, let me say that the Farm Input Subsidy Program, which is a very crazy program and is foreign and is coming to us as African farmers, but trying to support us, but in a very odd way, because it's organization we want to do is something that is coming to us is a program that purports to trying to alleviate poverty in Africa, but negatively impacting to ourselves, to our environment, to our health, and many other challenges that we're seeing. But we try to absorb it in the context that it is coming through. And let's get back to the issues that we start with what happening in exactly who are the food producers. From our history, we know very well that we have women as seed producers and as custodians of the land, as people are very important into how we function and how we even eat. How do we want to promote the function of the women within our households and within food production? That means we need to focus that attention to what we want to say we save. Don't forget what is closely related. Women want to learn from the different locations where we are located and how they are keeping that seed and why they want to say we want to say seed for a particular reason. Yeah, because they know the nutrition, learned it from their oral history, and that is very, very important to say. Let's keep on promoting women as seed custodians, and let's keep on that value and maintain it in Africa. An issue that has to be talked about, and no matter assembly or from the Lavia Cambacina Women's Articulation or from any other location, but women are important in as far as food production is concerned, because they are the people who cook and they are the people who have to know how the family is eating. As simple as that. Then when we want to talk about the issue of the inputs, you know, the inputs is something which is particular, which has a cost that many of the farmers do not want to talk about because they don't have the money. So with regards to inputs, what are they coming to do to the soil? What are they coming to do to the pocket of the farmer? And what are they coming to do to the whole production cycle? They are coming to milk from the producer. So how do we avoid being milked? And how do we protect ourselves from harming our soils? And how do we protect from even harming our health systems? Because inputs, some of them are very, very poisonous. And then assuming those into our production cycle is a very, very, very big challenge, which I think as producers, as Africans, we need to take back to the origin of those inputs and see where they are coming from and who is designing that and what is the agenda behind. If it is all about profit making, how do we protect ourselves from that profit? Because the profit, for him to make profit, it means it's me who is going to lose that money for him to make profit. So how do I save my money? So any farmer, any simple farmer has to look at that and then make conclusions and avoid losing money and concentrate on producing food that is just from the soil and feed your family in that circumstances. Then we look at the issue of seed. Seed has ever been just to some people, they say they want to see seed colored. Maybe in Zimbabwe, we look at it, it comes with a green color and it comes with a purple color. But is it that original color of seed? And what is that variety of seed that we're looking at? And what is the crop that we are talking about? And what is the background of it? And what is the politics behind it? That we need to look at in a very much careful analysis and see very well as food producers that know, is this what I eat? If it is that what I don't eat, then completely I should not go into any kind of producing it, because it is not what I eat, because my policy in my family as a practical farmer on the ground is that I don't just produce anything besides producing what I eat. What I eat is what I value and which I give much concentration. So for the matter of progress,
Thank you, Nelson.
Okay.
Thank
So
you. I think you've raised very important reflections on when we are deliberating on seed, what exactly does that mean? So tying in maybe from where you have left off, we'll now invite Elizabeth from La Via Campesina.
Thank you, Beatrice. I don't have much time. I know very well I was being disturbed by my internet, but I just wanted to come back to the issue of the impact of COVID, looking at how the rural women have been fighting to make things to come to an end, to be able to feed their families. And looking at quite a lot has been said with the rest of the speakers, but one thing on the Malabo Declaration, they really highlighted that there was the irrigation facility which rural farmers can also benefit, but it's not happening. We also have the inclusive budget processes that are not gender sensitive, and they have limited opportunities among the rural smallholder farmers, especially the rural women. We are not able to access and control of the land, including this low-cost rural financing. This is something else within the Malabo Declaration, which they promised, but it's not happening. And if we look at the FISPs, none of the rural women are really benefiting with this program. Now we come back to COVID. What has it done to the impact? It has really impacted our way of doing things. We have been organizing our seed fairs, food fairs, where the rural women could also exchange their seeds, their knowledge. But now, due to COVID, it's not happening. There are traveling restrictions, which have made it very difficult to plan our work as rural women. And it's a very big blow to the Rural Women Assembly, because we know very well how often we could meet, we could bring seeds from our countries and share amongst the rural women in our region. And this COVID has also impacted on the informal sectors. We know very well in the rural areas, we do raise our income through selling our products at the market, but right now we cannot access markets. So I think these are other issues which we really want to consider in our region to see how best this can be addressed. We don't know exactly when the COVID is going to come to an end. And even the issues of physics, I don't know, we have done quite a lot of lobbying, advocating for the rights of peasants to access local seeds, the input, but what type of input do we really want? We are looking at the local produced inputs, like the organic fertilizers. There are companies which are really producing these organic fertilizers, which can be cheaper for the farmers. The rural women need some trainings on how to make their own. But what is lacking is the finance, because some of these processes, they really need a little bit of financing, but we cannot access finance. We cannot access loans. It's a big challenge in our region. To end my short speech, I think we really need to make a deliberate effort on farmer-led research and development on local seeds, on our open pollinated variety seeds, to achieve food sovereignty, to achieve seed sovereignty, and also the management, in particular farm managed systems within agroecology, farming practices, and then we really need to achieve a diversified, nutritious food and healthy food systems, including biodiversity. There must be a deliberate effort in supporting the small-scale farmers to boost production through clear agricultural policies, such as access to markets, input, our own local seeds, and also the organic fertilizers, which I was talking about. I don't have much to say, but I really want to thank you for inviting me. Although I know very well I missed some of the discussions, but I think I'll also try to open the link, the recording as it was happening. But I really want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And just to say, to inform you, as one of the, yes, Beatrice, let me just say one sentence, a few words. It's a new initiative, which I think is going to be very relevant for the food which we are producing. We have started an initiative called the African Women Collaborative for Healthy Food Systems, which will also take into consideration all what we are talking today. Thank you so much, Beatrice, for giving me this 1 second. Thank you.
So thank you, Beatrice. We keep getting requests to make presentations and people saying something, and we having to round up. I have Cosper, 1 minute, please, and then Moiponi, you have a question, you've raised your hand. I've asked you to please write in the chat box. The reason we are rushing sisters and friends is because when you book a Zoom meeting, a webinar, it has a time limit. Otherwise, it cuts off if we go beyond that. And for us, it's very important. We brought this meeting together today because we'd like to have a common campaign that can take forward some of the issues that was raised by all of you, and I think summed up by Joe, as it were. So this is why we need our time as well to be able to pull everybody together and to establish a committee and to have a go-ahead to get this off the ground. So, Cosper, can you have a minute, please? Where are you?
Yeah, I think it has been quite a discussion, and from our point of view as part of development partners in the country, and we appreciate the effort that is done by rural women. We consider them as part of a social network in the communities we are working. And I think one of the best steps probably moving forward from this discussion is to align adaptation measures that will identify the risks that are being brought about, not just the COVID, but also other social ills, including climate change, because the adaptation plan is going to identify first the risk that is involved and also the measures, local measures born out of processes that are being led by women in particular, because the issues that are evident to everyone are clear that they affect most women in a particular way. So from those adaptation plans, probably we can be able to facilitate policy dialogues with policy makers to include the participation of small-scale farmers and producers in saying that whatever policy that needs to be formulated, whatever declaration that has to come there from governments has to have the feel and the support of the local people. It is these adaptation plans also that are going to help us make the demands meaningful. When we are talking about the promotion of local adapted varieties, those demands will be based on the aspirations and the tests, the experiments that local farmers have done on the ground. Usually policy formulators, they always complain about lack of data to validate any policy shift, any policy change. It is time for us as local people, local women, local producers to have the data to say, we do have, we have seen, we have experimented on agroecology, we have experimented on local adapted varieties, and we have seen their successes. So they should be included in the policy framework of the country so that the support that is coming from government is based on what is working on the ground. From this point of view, I think it will create a better step in aligning our campaigns.
Friend, your time is up. Please round off.
Thank you very much. Let us keep on in touch and in contact with the issues that we are raising forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw the hand of Moepone. Is it urgent, Moepone? You will speak to me again tomorrow if I don't take you today. While she's getting ready, friends, do you want to say something, Moepone? Because I want to bring the meeting to closure.
No, I'm covered, Mercia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's clear that we've been going for 2.5 hours and it's not enough time. And we apologize for that. We had wanted to really open the space for our members to speak about their problems and to create a space where
Aisha.
Yes?
This is Susan. I'm back from church and I'm just in the office where the people are.
Oh,
and
well,
I've just noticed that there's one thing that hasn't really come out. And this is the issue of marketing.
It's very difficult for you to say that, Susan. I'm going to suggest you hang on a moment because we've been going since 12 o'clock.
All right.
Please don't.
We appreciate have sent a message. I found that they realized that marketing did not really come out.
Thank you. So, people, thank you very much. I'm really don't want to lose anybody. That's why I'm trying to bring this to closure. So we're trying to have people speak out. This is the 3rd time we created platforms to speak out. The first big occasion was in Namibia at SAPSON 3 years ago. Then last year we did the same in Tanzania, and now this occasion. And it's clear that throughout these years, very little has changed in terms of the way in which governments are approaching the Farmer Input Subsidy Program. In fact, we're seeing more corruption, we're seeing more disregard, less consultation, more and more capture of the public purse of agriculture in relation to FISP. So we had hoped, given all the challenges that you've raised, that we could have a task team that could work together to begin to build a campaign around FISP. There hasn't been a campaign, there have been lots of complaints, but how do we then take this forward in a collective way? There have been lots of proposals. We developed a common manifesto, a report that outlines our criticism, and that we take this to the SADC Heads of States meeting. But that's one of the first steps, because the campaign is going to have to work harder and fight better to push back, to reclaim this subsidy and to make it our own, to put agroecology on the agenda, to put farmer seeds on the agenda, etc. So is there a general agreement that we go ahead and try and build this campaign? I know we have Lavia Campesina here, we have ISAF, we have ZAB, we have others here. Can I see from your notes in the chat that you agree with us. And can we have, as the Rural Women's Assembly, we're happy to create a follow-up smaller meeting where we discuss a strategy. Is this acceptable to everyone? And is there the will to fight on this issue? So I see there's quite a lot of agreement from people. And can I see some more hands? If we go ahead with this, you can also just raise your hand that you support it. You can show us in the chat. Do we have Lavia Campesina support for this? Do we have ZIMSOF? Do we have ZARP? Do we have ISAF? And all the other partners that are there? I'm just calling out some because together we can look at how we go. Is there agreement? There seems to be quite a bit of support. Zab is supporting, others are, Elizabeth is supporting, Isaf is supporting. There is Zimbabwean support as well. So, friends, we hope that UNAC will discuss and the other farmer movements that we are involved in will also discuss. I'm really very pleased with this. So if there seems to be common agreement, or can we accept that we will write to you formally after this, and we will get the names, or you can put your names in here for us, and we can call a follow-up meeting in the next 7-8 days. Is there agreement? The Rural Women's Assembly will take this on board, and we will go forward with it. Thank you. Nelson is agreeing, Zambia is agreeing. Is there anybody who thinks it's not a good idea? Joe, are you going to be on board with us?
Well, my chair is here. I think he's following up.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. All of the people, I get the impression.
Marcia.
Yes, please.
Yes, I wanted to come in. You know, some of these things, when we are organizing them and when we are discussing like this, and if you look at the numbers to where this discussion is, the numbers is almost an indicator that we have so many people that have that concern to say this is an issue, and we have come together here to start to deliberate on it and want to discuss it. Our intention here for coming was to even to listen to the region, or the coalition of the region, and even also to listen to the national kind of perspective from the government's point of view, the way they understand these issues, because this is critically an issue that we need to take up. Then, therefore, what it means, we need to organize ourselves. We need to be in a formula that has to influence. If we are not organized in that formula that can influence, it we would just end up being just a talk shop. And that means from this ourselves as activists to make sure that at the end of it, we make an impact, and which therefore means my raising of my hand means that I am committed to make sure that at least I have to make results out of this. So all my comrades who are with us today, can we look at it? Can we synthesize what we are discussing? Can we see the danger? Can we just take it just like to say it's just a talk shop? No, to me it's not. It is something that I'm living onto and which I need to take through, which I need to be an active member to. That means commitment is subject to that step that I have to take up to. So which I would believe all of us along this discussion will have to look at it in a more detailed way, in a more analytical way, not just a job, but something that affects me.
So thank you very much for that. I get, if you look at the groups in the chats, this has been, there is complete agreement that we take up this campaign and that we build together in the region. This is the first time in a long time that there is this common agreement. There are people who should be in this platform with us. We will invite them as well. Thank you very, very much. We will call the next meeting with your representatives and the Rural Women's Assembly leadership within the next 7-8 days, next week. And I'd like to thank you all for excellent contributions and for really very good participation. So let us travel home safely. And thank you very, very much. It's been a great afternoon. Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Please, if
Thank you,
you are ready to leave, thank you everybody and take care. Thank you.
Bye bye. Hi Grace.
Thank you, Grace.
Hi Grace. Hi Susan.
Thank you, Namibia. Thank you.
Mama ekhona sithi konke kuyenzeka konke 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 kuyenzeka konke konke kuyenzeka. Mama ekhona sithi konke. Isikhales kamamasiyo yethulamhlanje selukhalelani Uyakhala umfama thula mfama wena ukhalelani.
That was good.
Oh,